Humans, yes, we're all individuals, but when you get to a certain population size, they start to behave in a very safe way, and that you can really start predicting. You're not going to be able to predict an individual, but as a population, you can start to go, well, if we're going to advertise, the most likely time to reach them is here in this particular spot. And that's kind of where we are using those data signals to get in front of people at the most obvious time for them to engage with the brand.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Ad Podcast. We are here with Matt Longley, the CEO of Mobsta, at their beautiful lunch just down the Palais at a beautiful little beachside cafe. I think I actually ate here with my family one time. It's a super pleasant place. Jake, thanks for coming on, man.
Nice to be here.
So tell me a little bit about how your can's been so far.
It's been good. I've been doing some panels and chats with people and roundtables.
Amazing.
And it's very different for us. We used to just come here and entertain and not really get involved in hosting stuff.
Yeah.
And it's been a really good step change for us and feels a lot more professional.
So,
thanks to our head of marketing who's completely changed what we do.
So would you say that that's an evolution in your agency, your success and your growth, in actually investing in the marketing of your agency versus just coming here to do business development?
Yeah.
How has your approach to can changed over the years?
I think it's turned to far less like just relationship building and getting that quick deal and coming back from Cannes and going, right, let's do some business. It's turned into more long-term prospecting and figuring out what messages we want to get out and what we want to be known for over the next year or so. And I think Cannes, someone was saying the other day to me, where does Cannes fit in the annual calendar of marketing? And I think actually, certainly in the UK, things kind of slow down in July and August.
It's the end of the calendar, right? It's like the last thing before everyone goes on holiday.
It's a really nice summary of what's been happening in the year before, but it also sets up the following year.
Yeah.
And then September comes, everyone's into Christmas planning, and so I think Cannes is like the point in the year where we just all take a moment to go, oh, that was a good year, what's next?
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
And you also talked about really positioning your agency and what you guys are known for. So tell me a little bit more about Mobsta, and what would you say you guys are known for? What is your point of differentiation in the space?
Yeah,
how do you stand out as an indie agency?
So we're officially a geobehavioral platform. We look at what people do in real world versus online.
Got it.
And then try and predict where people are going to be. Layman's terms, it's looking at actual behavior of humans, not just what they do online, but where do they spend their time, how they change throughout the day. So, yesterday morning when I left the house, I was, a dad trying to think about how to take the kids to cricket on Friday and when I'm going to see friends and are we going to have a new car. Suddenly I'm in Cannes and my thoughts are completely different to that. So I'm the same person, but there's different moments in the day where people act completely differently, and we're trying to predict
different intent and different behavior, kind of depending on how you move through the world.
And online only gives you a snapshot into that, but it doesn't give you the full picture.
Yeah,
so we're trying to take all the real world behavior and then be able to predict what people are going to do in the future, just to help with targeting, help that our ads are more sustainable because we only target the smallest audience possible that we think are most likely to
so
engage
you're thinking about super tight groups of almost geo-targeted groups of people depending on behavior, because they're most likely to transact based on what they're thinking about and where they're located in the world.
And trying to find that perfect moment for a brand to hit an audience so that they match up and it just becomes like this frictionless engagement. I think that's what we do really well. Our clients love it, and it's nice. It's a good point of difference, and I'm excited about where the future's going, which is very different to what we're already doing at the moment. So
I love it. So tell me about, how do you collect those signals, and what's an example of a signal that a brand or a marketer could take advantage of based on what you know about their real world behavior? behavior? What's an example?
I think
of doing that?
we look at a variety of different data signals. So it might be in the UK DVLA data, which is driver ownership.
Yep.
When people's cars are up for renewal, insurance when that's up for renewal. We look at home mover data, so when people are renting, when they're coming up to rental renewal, or if they've just bought a house. We look at purchase data, so we have a huge variety of purchase data that's updated almost daily across all retailers in the country. We will look at ONS data, so looking at demographics. You plough all of that together and you start to get a really nice insight into what people do on a daily basis and how predictable they are. And humans, yes, we're all individuals, but when you get to a certain population size, they start to behave in a very safe way, and that you can really start predicting. You're not going to be able to predict an individual, but as a population you can start to go, well, if we're going to advertise, the most likely time to reach them is here in this particular spot. And that's kind of where we are using those data signals to get in front of people at the most obvious time for them to engage with a brand. And I like the platform we have because it often delivers insights that you wouldn't often think about. We had a brief for an air fryer, for example, and you go, well, I mean, what can you learn about a brief for an air fryer?
Sure.
Turns out it was a stacked air fryer, and the platform came back and said, well, actually, we want to be targeting people with studio flats and one-bed flats.
Interesting, because of the compact nature of the device,
exactly,
the fact that it fits in with a certain, certain type of person who's trying to optimize their counter space, essentially, based on the size.
Then you can start to look for indexing for studios and one-bed flats, and make sure you only hit areas where that really over-indexes, or and just ignore the places where there are massive family homes because they don't need that.
Yeah. Talk about the channel approach. So when you're thinking about targeting people based on right time, right place, mobile comes to mind because so often mobile behavior dictates, there's obviously a ton of transactions happening in e-commerce, but if I'm out in the world, I might be more susceptible or more interested in stopping in a store or taking advantage of an offer because I'm when I'm out of the house, I'm running errands, I'm getting things done, I'm in a kind of a mindset in which I want to shop or open to those types of ideas, versus at home I might be working, I might be spending time with the family, I might not be in a shopping behavior at that moment.
Yeah, I think a lot of it does revolve around mobile, but also you've got digital outdoor. Everywhere you go now, outdoor over the last 5-10 years has had a massive shift toward digital. You can start activating individual panels on a minute by minute basis.
Wow.
So having that mobile data is important, and you want to know movement data, you want to know when people are in that right mindset. You can hit them with display advertising, but you can also get them with video on connected TV when they're looking at their streaming sites. Audio, people listen to podcasts, listen to radio. You can get those advertising moments as well. And then with digital outdoor, you start to build a picture of how someone uses their day around different media, and you can start to build up frequency around those different media and really hit people with sequential messaging throughout the day at different points in their lives, all with different messages. So the message in the morning might be very different to the message the same brand sends in the evening, but you have to know the time of day in order to make sure that it is, again, most relevant for the...
Is digital outdoor at the point where it's literally a one-to-one impression? Can you predict somebody walking down the street, pop up a board, and really think about you're targeting that person with a unique message, or is it still based on looking for clusters of people with the most in common, and then I'm going to show them something that could be relevant to 4 of the 5 people on the street at that moment?
Exactly. I think it would be a bit creepy if we could track a phone and put an ad right there for them and then track them as they're walking down Oxford Street. But no, what we do is just say, well, this particular postcode on that panel, the most likely audience that's around there is X, Y, and Z. So let's put the advertising there at that moment. 3 hours later, that audience changes completely. And I think if you look at really static data, like footfall data that goes past things, you can get an idea that this area is a business area, this area is a commuter area, this is a family area. But a family area will have commuters passing through, businessmen passing through, children passing. You have different restrictions or opportunities on an individual panel throughout the day. So it's about knowing where the best 1,000 panels are for your audience at that hour on this Tuesday.
Yeah, making sense of the entire distribution of potential boards or screens, essentially outdoor screens, in a neighborhood, a city, a country, etc.
Yeah, and I think what we're excited about is how you take that to the next level with AI. We're talking to a company at the moment that has been developing some tech for a completely different audience, not at all with advertising, but looking at how user agents talk to their users and might be able to start developing a sort of spatial awareness thing. So if people have got headphones in and their agent's talking to them, they can identify things around them and help them. And from an accessibility point of view, that's really helpful. But from an advertising point of view, it does start to open up opportunities where we could start saying, well, if it's raining and someone's looking for an umbrella, that user's agent should, in theory, be able to work out where it is and immediately say, you need to turn right, turn left, and you're going to find a shop that has to make it stop right now.
So kind of the voice elements of how people are interacting with chatbots, not just by typing, but by talking to them, really kind of, Alexa and Siri kind of started the behavior of voice, but it's becoming more ubiquitous.
True
and more
ambient media. And we have to be really careful with that, because there's a whole ethical question about where advertising should and shouldn't get involved in that story. We are completely at the start of this journey, and everything we do with AI, we are establishing what are our sort of ground rules for ethics in AI, and talking to everyone else we possibly can, talking to all the AI companies to try and figure out what their transparency is on whether they work with military or how much water they use or how much power they use or how many gigajoules of renewables they're using. It's quite hard to get that transparency from all of them to establish it. At the moment, all you can do is be asking questions and just keep pushing to try and get the data back. And I know that when we get the data we need, then we can start to make a conscious decision about what the future of AI looks like at Mobsta compared to everywhere else. But you have to be curious and be willing to ask those questions. It's sometimes quite difficult to ask people that you rely on for what you're building.
Love it. Well, it's a brave new world. Well, Jake, if folks want to continue to follow up with your thought leadership or learn more about Mobsta, where would you like to send people to connect?
I would head to mobsta.com, come to LinkedIn with me. More than happy to chat. We'll always have a coffee or an online chat with anybody. We have an amazing team of people who just like talking about stuff. There's no sell. It's just, just get in, have a chat about the industry, a chat about the future. One thing I'm really passionate about is looking for possibilities in the future that we haven't considered yet, chasing that horizon, knowing we'll never particularly get there, but just really, really pushing to try new stuff. That excites me. So if you ever want to chat about that, just get in touch.
It's a good vision.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
On YouTube, finding the right audience to build a media plan requires hours of research. And optimizing campaigns is time-consuming and a bit of a guessing game. That's why we built technology to do it for you. Strike Social.